Hey folks, ACCG here, and in today's video we have something a little bit different. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, I did manage to get extremely lucky and top the Utrecht Championship with 2,560 players, I think it was. I placed 28th overall, which I'm extremely happy with. It may not seem like it. I have just got out of a plane, I've just showered, and I'm immediately jumping on to talk to all of you lovely folks. I took I can't even use my words. I took Pluffy, Purple Luffy, after a lot of deliberation and practice on the sim, streaming with some of you folks, and a lot of practice at locals with my friends. I managed to go 10-2 in Swiss, which is yeah, sensational. Like going into this tournament, I have obviously a lot of high expectations upon myself, but at the same time, it's a 2,500 person tournament with a 12 round Swiss, and anything can happen. And I have a really bad matchup in Sakazuki, which is the most played deck in the format. But we managed to pull through. Let's not make it that. We got the top player packs and the finals pack, which is super cool, as well as an abundance of championship cards, which I'm eternally grateful for. I'm going to do a quick breakdown of what my matchups were, and then yeah. But before I get into that, I just want to say, like, I've already said this to them, but like, one, a huge thank you to Joe McGee. If you don't know him, he's from Liverpool. You should know him. Yeah, he's been my training partner the entire way through. As much as I've been streaming and practicing in the background and just grinding anytime I can when I'm not working or studying and stuff. Yeah, he's really kind of pulled me back into focusing on the meta and stuff. If you've watched my streams, I love blue, so I've been playing Crocodile, pick Crocodile all last set. I've been trying like pure blue Sakazuki and having fun, but he's managed to rein me back in over the past month and a bit, and make sure that I'm getting those hours in with Pluffy. So yeah, eternally grateful. Thanks, brother. Same with Graham, helping me with the practicing against the Katakuri matchup. Like Joe was on Saka the entire time, so I had a lot of experience with those going in, and everyone from my locals as well. And thank you to all of you for always leaving comments and spurring me on and joining the streams and stuff. Makes me feel a lot more happy, I guess, about like spending all of this time practicing, and like this is the prime example as to like when that pays off, right? And that like I got super lucky, and there's no denying that. Like I had to get super lucky in a lot of my games, and I did, thankfully, this time. But yeah, the support that you guys give me is immense. And my partner, thank you, Gemma. I don't know if she's watching this, but I couldn't do this without you. Yeah, into the games, I suppose. So 12 rounds of Swiss. I have up my phone, so if you see me looking down, I played against Green Purple Dofi round one. So again, I'm playing Pluffy, and they don't have a lot of removal. So lovely person, but managed to take that game. I lost round two, which is a crazy thing to say going into a 12 round tournament, that I managed to top and lost round two, and that was against Whitebeard, which I should have the advantage in. And the reason I lost the game is because if I just played my blockers and waited an extra turn, I would have definitely probably, not even probably, I would have secured that game. But I did what happens a lot against Whitebeard, which is that my opponent had a 5 card hand, and I'm thinking, can they stop 15? They had one done up, so I was thinking they'd have to have like, they just used 4 2Ks to stop my 6K swings, and I was like, there's no way they have it. They had exactly the 10K. They had a kick course, and a rad beam. So yeah, lost that game. But I've got a note here saying I'm a goober because I could have won that game. And then quite a little run here. Round three was versus Anel. I won that one. Round four, win versus Anel. Round five, win versus Saka. Saka's always scary. But if you manage to see your pieces and you get the right combos, you can pull through. Magellan is sensational in that matchup, and ulti page one is always going to be good. It's just sometimes difficult if they have Borsellino on curve, and then the perfect cards to out that. But I've had enough practice to try and at least put myself in the best advantage to be able to win that matchup. It's still extremely difficult. Win versus Anel and win versus Cat. So I went on a 5-win streak there, which is pretty cool. And then I lost to Zorro in round 8. It's a really, really difficult matchup for Pluffy to win that. You want to self-damage against a deck that wants to kill you extremely fast. So Yeah, no. But the player played really well. He also made it to top 64. Unfortunately, lost out before making it to top 32. I saw they were sat right next to me, but he played really well. I can't remember your name, but thank you for the games. I won against the Mirror in Pluffy in round 9. Mirror matches are always terrifying, and I won against Nell in round 10, and that was the end of day 1. So I was 8-2 going into day 2, and then in day 2 you started by 2 rounds of Swiss, and I won against Sakazuki. My opponent unfortunately made a misplay where he'd forgot that I can go to 7 K power if I self damage using my leader ability after I Kaido. So he discarded a counter thinking that he'd just 2K it. And unfortunately, I went 7 and he went, I haven't got enough counter, and then I went 10 for game. Um, and then my last round, which I needed to win, was another mirror match here. Um, and this was just, again, quite unfortunate for my opponent. I swung for 6 and they took, and I swung for 7 and they took, and that was the last life. And then I swung 10 with Kaido, and he went, yeah, that's game. And he showed me his hand, and he had a 7 card hand, and 6 of those were bricks. I think he had like 2 Magellans, 2 Sheep's Horns. Yeah, some absolute craziness. And then into the top cut we went. In top 64, we won against Katakuri. This was an extremely tight match. Katakuri, you think you have the advantage because you're playing into yellow, but sometimes they just get triggers and you can't do anything about it. And being attacked for 7 is terrifying. Like, especially if the amount of times that I'll play a blocker, and they'll just immediately thunderbolt it, so you can't even like just block in 2K. It's scary. So I lost game 1 against it, but then it's best of 3, so I managed to claw it back and win the next 2 games, which is sensational. Like the difference in pricing from top 64 to 32 is quite large. So yeah, really, really grateful that I was able to just pull it through and that my deck won. And in the top 32 matchup, I lost to Sakazuki 1-2. I lost game 1, won game 2, and then lost game 3. The game 3 they just had like a blocker up the entire game, and I didn't have Kaido. I just didn't have it, and they had the advantage from the get go. And he played it really, really, really well. So I can't be mad with that. And overall, I'm still extremely happy with my result. Yeah, I'll do a brief look at what the actual deck looks like. It's a little bit different from Pluffy lists in that I'm not running the 7 cost Kid or the 7 cost 7-10 vanilla. And I'm also not running Sheep's Horn or Top Knot in this list because I just really wanted to limit how many bricks and counterless cards there were in my hand, because I was really just terrified of like a Nell should be a favorable matchup, but if they go Holly, and me having like multiple bricks, like a Kid's not going to do anything. And the Kid I found in testing was just useless against Sakazuki, and I wanted to be able to put myself in as much as an advantage as I could. And the reason I'm not running the Sheep's Horn is because it's just like a brick in hand for 90% of the game. And yes, like it can win you that game against Sakazuki, but in other matchups, a lot of the time, you having that brick in your hand actually loses you the game. And I found that in more games I was losing because that was a brick than I was actually winning because I could win through the Sakazuki. So yeah, let's take a look at the list. So yeah, this is the list. I'll do a very quick run through. I wanted to do this of like a tournament report rundown, then an actual deck profile. So here we go. It's like 4 hours of everything. I wanted it to be as consistent as possible. Monkey D. Luffy for Khalifa. If you can get Khalifa down against Anel or against Katakuri without it getting thunderbolted, and it can stick, it's an instant win. It's super scary, especially when you go Califer into the 5 cost Kid, because you can put a Don on this, play Kid, use Califer effect, get the Don back, put the Don on lead, then you have a blocker, then you draw in 2 cards, and then your opponent tries to swing into Califer, you can block it, use your cards from your hand because it's sticking, it's pressure. Example. Miss Doublefinger, this I think I used the ability of this once, honestly. This weekend, it's just the 2K. You really could you really could run X-Drake in this spot. I found I've been using this less, but against some matchups you really don't want to self-damage. And in the mirror, I often use this in the early game to get my Don up so that I can go into the Portly, because I don't want to self-damage because then I'm going to get Lord. So I just focus on donning up, allowing them to self-damage, trying to lure them, using my queens, etc. For Nosuke, I'm running 3 of. It's like one of the only 3 ofs in the deck. I think it's the only actually 3 of in the deck. It's the only card that's not off for. Oh no, Apu as well. Yeah, I actually really like this card. It's a pretty decent 2k. It's a 2k for one, of course. But also, if you don't know what it does, it says Don X1. If you have 8 Don or more, it gains Rush. Sometimes against Sakazuki, you just need an additional attack on a turn, and this is in that state is another Kaido for me. Um, Sometimes when they've played Sabo and you have 2 attacks, they can block or they do things, and like even if you Kaido, you're not going to be able to KO anything, and that's where like having the Frenosuke can come up because you can just play it, put some Don on it, swing for 7. And it's won me quite a few games. I won 2 games with the Frenosuke overall because of the pressure that it allowed me to get, and one of the games was Frenosuke for game, which is super spicy. Ulti allows you to on-play Don -1, play page 1. It is what it is. Some matchups you honestly like. It's kind of weird. I'd rather just play the page 1. But I also have played the ulti as a 4/5 vanilla in the tournament when I didn't have the page 1 because you just need to have a body down definitely turn 2. But yeah, this combo was absolutely insane and fantastic late game. In the Sakazuki matchup, in the late game when I have 8 Don, I will often play a vanilla and the ulti page 1 and just try and like flood the board and be like, remove what you want, I'm at least getting 2 attacks through next turn. Trafalgar Law at 4, 100%. I was such a goober originally, and I was like, "This card is meh." I was super wrong. This card is insane, and yeah, it's one of those. It's like Isho from the other sets, right? It's like kind of a skill check in that you have to keep on top of this in your mind always, and it's stressful sometimes when you play against purple because of it. And this is a card that you're always just gonna have to keep in mind when playing against purple going into the future, because I just see it being in most decks. It's so good, like being able to, when your opponent's on 7 cards, like going on turn 2, going 5 at lead, and if they take, then going law, pushing down to 5 cards that early is so nasty. And the amount of times late game where they'd have just 7 cards, or I'd swing for a really not nice number, like a 9k with like a Magellan. So I put 3 Don on, swing for 9k when I have like 7 Don. And they go, I have to take this when they've got 6 cards. And then I use this and I ripped like counters from them or pieces that they need. It's so good. 3 Scratch Mana Poo. I wanted more bodies to definitely be able to play a card on turn 2, always. If you're going first, you want to have at least a 4/6 vanilla that you're able to play, potentially. Page 1, often didn't play this unless I was playing it with the ulti, honestly. But sometimes you just have to do it, right? Magellan, MVP. Yeah, people hate this card, and it's understandable. Like, the reason that this deck can win is because you throw people off the curve. It's super scary. Paulie, another MVP, a card that was overlooked in the last few sets. Like, just being able to pick something off gives you time and puts you to 10 Dawn extremely fast. Really good card. Pick these up if you're not using it. Useless Captain Kid is what I was calling this guy, and I call him that out of the memes all the time. But yeah, fantastic card. I didn't really. I mainly use this against yellow because everything else has Dawn removal. Yellow and the mirror match, actually, because they can't really remove 5 unless they Kaido. So yeah, yellow and the mirror match. Playing this is so good. Like to be fair, what did I play? Like 5 yellows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellows. In all 6 yellow games, anytime I put a kid down, it got thunderbolted. So yeah, Queen is actually my MVP for the entire weekend. This card won me so many games. In one of my mirror matches, I played 4 queens, and it just stonked. So good. Pick these up. 4 Kaido. A lot of lists are running 3. But you just need it. Like, it's literally your game ender so many times. Like, not even that. It's like it creates so much impact with the removal. Never mind the push through with the rush. That it's so important. And one of my Pluffy as well. Like, you play it, kill something, and then you're able to swing into a body if you need to, or just pressure. And like, they can't self damage anymore, so they've lost ramp and stuff, and it's terrifying. And then the only event that I'm running is Gum Gum Jet Gatling. I run 4 of it. so many deck profiles of people who have topped I've seen being like, I'm really tempted to put this to 4, and I watched like literally 5 videos of people saying that, and I went, why don't I just do that? So that's what I did, and it's a sensational card. The amount of times where this weekend people would swing for 7k, because they just imagine automatically think that that's the magic number against most things, which they are correct, but this still allows me to very comfortably just stop it. And a lot of the times where this really came up clutch is when your opponent swings 8k into, for example, Arrested Kid, because you want to attack with your blockers with this deck, and just using this to be able to go, no, stop that, please. It's just really, really good. I wouldn't change anything about my list, honestly. I'm extremely happy with it. I do think this is a fantastic list. I wouldn't go back to running the Sheep's Horn. Like in my testing, I just found it bricked so much. Um, and I'd rather have really, really solid matchups into most other decks rather than just trying to put a card in to hyperfixate on the Saka matchup. I got really lucky on the day that I only had to play it twice. Twice? 3 times. 3 times because I lost to it in the final as well. Yeah, twice in Swiss, which I won both, and then lost to it in the top 32. Yeah, that's the deck. I am so thankful. I'm sorry if it's been like low energy levels. It's been a weekend. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace.